Got a fun treat for you today. We'll be talking about the 5 worst units in Total War Warhammer 3 as of patch 5.1.1. Now, in campaign, you can kind of make anything good, but I am talking mostly about multiplayer, though I would still argue that in campaign, most of these units are completely outshined by other things on their roster that you could get either earlier or for cheaper, so I still think it applies for campaign, but oh well, mostly multiplayer. Number 5 on this list, meaning the least trash, is the Hawk Riders of the Wood Elves. Hawk Riders, just kind of bad. Very low model count, low weapon strength, low missile strength, actually. And I'm going to compare them here with Deepwood Scouts, Glade Riders with Hagbane Tips, and then the Hawk Riders themselves. Now, they are firing through some trees here. I checked, and the trees didn't really block too many of the shots. It blocked one arrow in that volley. Some of them are just hitting the fucking ground over there, and that's more of an issue. But you can see the Deepwood Scouts doing pretty well. Glade Riders do okay against these Marauders of Khorne with no shields or anything. The Hawk Riders get up above for some better shots. And even then, if you take a look, right, what are we at? 100 value there, 180 here. Hawk Riders are at 34. I think that gap is only going to grow, even after I give them direct overhead shots. No way the trees got in the way. We're at this point. What were you guys at? All right, you were at like 100. You're now at 250, so you've gotten 150 value in that time. These guys have gotten 120 value in that time. Deepwood Scouts, they're at 365. So they increased by 180. So in that amount of time, the Hawk Riders just fell behind in DPS. Now the Hawk Riders might be like, well, Human Boy, they're flying. Of course they'll do less damage. That's just good game design. It is, but these guys are 1,000 gold, while Glade Riders are only 700. And the Deepwood Scouts are also 700. So you're paying a premium and you're losing damage, right? It should be one, not the other. The other part of the Hawk Riders that I'm sure you're yelling at me is they do get armor piercing in melee, making them kind of unique for a flying cav in that way. But again, you're still paying 1,000 gold for this. They're very weak to missile fire. They're very weak to spells. And it's not like they're doing crazy amounts more damage than the Glade Riders here. And I am playing on sandbox mode, so the dwarves are kind of half-assing, fighting back a little bit. But as this progresses, they will do decent damage to the dwarf warriors, but eventually they start to lose. And again, you might be shouting at me, well, Human Boy, you need to be cycle charging and all that stuff. I mean, you're fighting a dwarf warrior that's less than half your value, and you're barely beating it. If you could cycle charge, sure, but you're going to be getting shot in that time, spells are going to get cast at you that time, and you're still just trying to kill a unit that's half of your price. So what, do you charge into, like, a Chaos Warrior? Well, they'll beat you to death. So it's just kind of like, what are we doing here, Hawk Riders, for 1,000 gold? If they were cheaper, I wouldn't be as critical on them. If they did more damage at range, I wouldn't be as critical on them. But paying 1,000 gold for a very bad missile flying cav and a meh AP flying cav, they're just not good. The number 4 spot on this list was actually a competition between these two units. The Feral Carnosaur of the Lizardmen and the Ice Bear thing, the Elemental Bear. Like, I was trying to figure out which was worse. The Elemental Bear has better infantry clearing attacks, but it is more expensive. It has a breath attack, but it is unbreakable because it's elemental. Causes terror. I mean, so does the Feral Carnosaur, to be fair. I don't know. But I think what sealed it for me was this test. My Carnosaur gets the charge because we're in sandbox mode, so the Elemental Bear doesn't really charge back. He has a higher charge bonus. So he's going to charge the Elemental Bear. Weird animation carries it all the way to him, and then they kind of bounce apart. So he got the charge. It's the best you're going to do. Your opponent would never be AFK and just let you hit them like that. The Elemental Bear is no anti-large. It's not supposed to be an anti-large duelist, while the Carnosaur is. So this is his job, is fighting the Elemental Bear. He's 250 gold, less expensive, so I'll give him that. But like I said, the Elemental Bear has more going for it. It has the frickin' breath attack. It has chilling aura, so it has some support qualities. It kills some infantry and stuff. This is the Feral Carnosaur's thing, is killing large targets, right? This is his whole job. And as he's fighting back and forth, he has Rampage, which is also a negative effect, because it can take him out of control for a while, and it can be hard to get him back. And as they fight back and forth, you can see it's very close. And again, I know, the Elemental Bear is more expensive. I get that. But this is his one job. The one thing you can argue that feral Carnosaurs do well is fight a large monster. And a barely more expensive than him large monster is tying him at it. So they go down to the wire. The elemental bear is super close to dying. Gets headbutted by the Carnosaur again, but then his leadership is going to start to fail him. And it manages to rally. And then it pushes the feral Carnosaur away. So the feral Carnosaur will lose leadership and run for it. The elemental bear holds on for now. But that was kind of the nail in the coffin for me, in that, like, he has one job and he is okay at it. Okay at best. But he's not, like, amazing at it. And he sucks at killing infantry. Like, sucks at it. He's very weak to ranged fire, like most large monsters are. He's not cheap at 1550. He's very expensive, and it's just like, okay, what are we doing here? A Stegodon is a very good duelist anyway, and a Stegodon's way better against infantry, and a Stegodon's a lot cheaper. It's like, why bother with the feral Carnosaur? Even though they've gotten several buffs, still pretty bad. Coming in at our number 3 spot is the Red Crested Skinks, the Lizardmen. Now, I did do this originally, but I forgot to actually put the record button. So note that these guys are in sandbox mode. They only have charge defense versus large, so we are getting a free charge onto everybody here. And my Red Crested Skinks are fighting 2 Hobgoblin Cutthroats and 3 Chaos Dwarf Warriors. The Chaos Dwarf Warriors are 25 gold more expensive, but they are a defensive unit on a roster where Chaos Dwarf Warriors are considered a bad unit, by the way. Like, nobody thinks Chaos Dwarf Warriors are great. So Red Crested Skinks are fighting an armored target with their armor piercing, trying to take them down, and they're fighting what is considered bad infantry. But the real problem with Red Crested Skinks is their armor is low, their melee defense is insanely low, and their melee attack is insanely low, considering that they rely on Frenzy to get that stat up. Chaos Dwarf Warriors are only 25 gold more expensive, and they have 30 and 44 for melee stats. These guys are 36-19 as long as Frenzy's active. Hobgoblin Cutthroats are cheaper by 175 gold, and they get 28-28 for melee stats. It's insane how much the Red Crested Skinks pay. If you look at an Empire Swordsman, what are they, 32-32 for 200 less gold? They get 32-32 stats. The 19 melee defense is insane, and their armor piercing in no way makes up for it. As across the board, it looks like they are losing. Hell, this Hobgoblin Cutthroat, does he even have Malign Authority? He does. Got it. But yeah, the Red Crested Skinks getting pushed off by the Chaos Dwarf Warriors. Again, 25 gold more expensive. And they are slapping these fools that are meant to kill this specific unit. Red Crested Skinks are meant to kill armored infantry, and they can't do it. As they start to get a little wavery, their melee attack goes down, and they will lose. As they start to run off soon. There goes 1, there goes 2, there goes 3, there goes 4, all down the line. Even Hobgoblin Cutthroats beat them, and these Chaos Dwarf Warriors aren't looking worse for wear. 500 value for the Chaos Dwarf Warriors. For the Red Crested Skinks, 275. Let's go. Red Crested Skinks are garbage. Hobgoblin Cutthroat about 500. Let's see how one of the guys did that fought the Hobgoblin Cutthroats. Oh, 300. Wow, close, you stupid bastard. Now, before you yell at me, this was a very close contest between this and number 1. Very, very close. And I will say, the Cold One Chariots are the worst, but there could be an argument to be made for this list to be very boring. Norscan Icewolf Chariots are also bad. All 3 of Slanesh's demonic chariots are also bad. I think the Cold One chariots are worse than all those I listed. I think the Razorgore chariots are also pretty bad. I know. But we don't want this to just be a list of, hey, chariots are bad, you guys. So I threw in some other unit types in there. But yes, if you're being technical, all those units I just listed also deserve the number 2 spot. They are all worse than the Carnosaur. Don't hurt me. It's just better content if you talk about something else. But yes, all chariots are struggling. But the Cold One chariots are struggling even for chariots. Most chariots got buffs that help them get through infantry. We have unbraced Chaos Warriors, unbraced Marauders, like they don't have charge defense. And we have a limp charge. And without any mass, the Cold One Chariots just get immediately bogged down in these guys. Take a ton of damage. And they get orders to start moving out of here. They're trying to move. As they push so slowly through these Chaos Warriors. And they're not even flying through the Marauders. They're struggling to get out of the Marauders. And these are armor-piercing anti-infantry chariots. And they get clowned on by even light infantry, but Chaos Warrior's Great Weapon's going to rout this Cold One Chariot. It still can't escape from them despite trying so hard, and it runs away. Now, you might be yelling at me like you have for every other unit on this list. Well, Human Boy, they're a missile chariot! Okay, sure. I mean, it's weird to pay 1,100 gold for a missile chariot, but sure, it has a high missile strength with armor-piercing shots. Let's see how many Chaos Warriors it can take out. So we rally both these guys. He'll come back in a second. Let's shoot him at ×3 speed. Unshielded. Armored infantry. Unshielded. And we shoot at them. And if your opponent is going to let you shoot at them for 3 minutes, you will take out 2/3 of the HP of one armored infantry. Seems pretty good. Seems pretty good. That right there is a good chariot. Taking our top spot is the Burning Chariot of Tzeentch. At 1,700 gold, this thing is wildly expensive on a roster that has many other things like it. So we have the Changebringers, the Flamers, and Exalted Flamer of Tzeentch. Now remember, the Burning Chariot is the most expensive out of all of them. The Flamers of Tzeentch are exactly half of its cost. I think the Changebringers are 200 gold cheaper, and the Exalted Flamer is 400 gold cheaper. So let's see what you can do, Burning Chariot. First, a straight-on shot against the Zargard from all of them. Alright, some of those little after effects doing okay. You might be like, well, Human Boy, it does way better if you micro it off to the side and fire down the line of infantry. Well, we've thought of that too. Let's back it off and move over for a side shot. So with the frontal shot, I got 204 value. Let's see your side shot. Onto the Zargard. Alright, everybody, round 2. Just a little side shot there. Exalted Flamer takes forever, but I let each unit fire off a quick volley, and then I tell them to stop manually. And now that the vortexes have faded, let's check on our values. Burning Chariot of Tzeentch, 350. Nice, nice, killing it. Changebringers, 608. Regular Flamers, 430. And the Exalted Flamer, 394. So the Exalted Flamer actually outpacing the Burning Chariot, even with the side shot. Alright. So now we set up to fight single entities again. Burning Chariot might just be a single entity sniping tool. Maybe we just all need to calm down a little bit. Let's fire one volley at each single entity here. Against the poor little snow leopards. Alright, everybody fires one volley, then we cut them off. The Snow Leopard that was shot by either the Flamers or the Changebringers took significantly more damage. But the basic ones, the Burning Chariot left it at 1870 HP pretty much, and this one 2170. So 300 more damage than the Exalted Flamer. But before you go, haha, that's it, the Exalted Flamer is worse, this thing is 400 gold more expensive, and it has 5 less ammunition. This thing has 15, I believe, and the Burning Chariot only has 10. So it already runs out of ammo very quickly, and it's just pathetic. It's just a pathetic, garbage-ass unit. I hate it. Burning Chariot of Tzeentch is the worst. It's super fragile. If you ever shoot at it with anything or you Spirit Leech it, it just dies immediately. It's garbage. It is crazy expensive. And through the introduction of the Changebringers, they do the most damage, but also they're cheaper, and they fill the niche of the flying skirmish thingy. So there's no reason to bother with that. And if you like really want single flame kite for some reason, the Exalted Flamer is like way cheaper and performs about the same. Burning Chariot of Tzeentch is the worst unit in the entire game. It's just horrible. And again, you got to keep the price in mind. 1,700 gold. That's a Blood Knight. That's a Fireborn? What are the Fireborn? I think they're around that. I don't know. That's a Chosen and a Clan Rat. That's the cost of most lords. Like, that's about a Lord Skrulk for a fucking burning Chariot of Tzeentch. This thing is garbage and is the worst unit in the game. Roar. Subscribe, yes, yes.